Come on, what you doing? Get that, you doing? Get that. Come on. That's what you doing. Come on. Dad's gonna get you. Come on. Hello everyone, it's John from Brisbane. It's been a while since I've posted anything, and that's because, well, I've been in hospital. Yes, that dreaded place that I try to avoid at the best of times. So I'll get that over and done with very quickly. As many of you know, I suffer from a range of mental illnesses, and here in Australia, we like to sugarcoat, I guess, what happens, and I survived what I like to call a death by misadventure. So I'm still here, and I spent a delightfully boring period of time in hospital. So I'm not going to go into a hell of a lot of it, but I am reminded, though, of a Red Dwarf episode called Quarantine. And I'll just share a little bit, which I found particularly amusing and very much in context with my stay. And you'll forgive me as I'm now going to look off on that direction, because that's where my laptop is. And it's a discourse between Crichton and Rimmer. And Rimmer has consigned the crew to quarantine, and Crichton is objecting to the fact that 3 of them are sharing a 1-berth quarantine room. And he's going, you can just imagine Crichton's voice going, "Oh, Mr. Rimmer, sir. And in accordance with Space Corps Directive 312, and this is Rimmer, sorry, now responding, he said, you'll find in the cupboard a, sorry, I'll go back, because Crichton's saying, what about entertainment? You're obliged to provide us with leisure facilities and, games, literature, hobby activities, motion pictures. Yeah, things that, yes. Oh dear, what I could say. But Rimmer's response is, yes, in accordance with Space Corps Directive 312, you'll find in the cupboard a chess set with 31 missing pieces, a knitting magazine with a pull-out special on crocheted hats, a puzzle magazine with all the crosswords completed, and a video of the excellent wallpapering, painting and stippling, a DIY guide. And for dinner, they had sprout salad. For dessert, sprout crumble. Yes, well, I'm not going to go into my stay in hospital, but I think that little excerpt from Red Dwarf, I think, will sort of share my thoughts on my consignment. Yes. Anyway, once I got out, thankfully, I got out on a Thursday, and I had on the weekend 2 days of role playing, which thankfully made life a lot better in the fact that it gave me every bit of distraction that I needed. And with the role playing came an interesting piece of devilry on my behalf, because with the fact that I do a news newspaper for my two groups who share the same location. One of the players said, "Well, John, you actually wrote in the newspaper that I had acquired barrels of siege oil." And I went, "Well, you know that what I write in the newspaper isn't always factual." And he said, "But it's in print. It must be true." So I'm now having to be rather careful, I guess, in respect to what I actually put in print now, because my cunning players are now starting to cotton on to using what I put in print to their advantage, while cunningly ignoring all the plot hooks and adventure plots that I throw in there. I honestly can't. You know, I give them plenty of opportunities, plenty of things that they can go off and investigate, and, you know, information is seeded throughout the newsletters, which, if they're watching this, go have a read. There's information in there. But yeah, it was interesting. You know, I'm starting to think, okay, now I need to have a wee bit of a think about what it is that I put into my newspapers, and how, you know, you can have some very, very cunning players who like to think out of the box. And, you know, that's what I like about players who challenge their game master. And I'm not one who just goes, "No, sorry, my world." You know, and I did my best to try and take his barrel of oil off him in the end. And that, so yeah. Oh, pardon me. It's it's an early morning here in Brisbane, and yes, I'm just still not quite used to all the medication and that. So my D&D continues. My club, thankfully, is continuing. I played Wingspan, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I picked up during the week Tempura, which it's a wonderful little simple game, which I can't even tell you what the game mechanisms are. Well, I've only played it a couple of times, and it was just delightful. Plays up to 7, I think, plays up to 7 people, which is good because we can get some people that run up to that. Another game that we enjoyed was Room 25, which, of course, out of print, which I'm now desperately trying to find. So if there's anybody out there that's got a copy of Room 25 they don't want anymore and would like to donate to a penniless pensioner, I'm more than happy to accept it off your hands. But Room 25, we played co-op, where we had 6 players, 2 were playing guards, 4 were playing the prisoners, and that, it really suited the players amongst the people that we have at the club, because nobody trusts anybody. But it was so delightful. It really was. But it was, you know, even though the everybody was being, I guess, a prick, it still worked out to the fact that everybody was still trying to work out who were guards. And you know, I must admit, in both games, I died. I think I was the first person to die in both games. In the second game, I was a guard, which took me out. And of course, the fact that nobody knew that I was the guard, and they were still trying to guess. You know, they were thinking, oh, you know, if I hadn't have been, you know, they'd have guessed I was a guard. Oh, there you go. Oh, yes, you may or you may not have, but yeah. Anyway, so that was a lot of fun. We finally got to play on the weekend Robinson Crusoe, and bloody hell, that was a damn difficult game to play. We'll probably give that another go, seeing we're still nutting our way through trying to play it. And yes, sorry, try not to yawn again. So it was a really good game that we persevered through. So Robinson Crusoe, we only have the first edition one. So ours is the old, can't remember who it was, can't remember who produced it. Can't see it immediately on my shelf over there, but yeah, no, it was fun. So we played we played Wingspan and Robinson Crusoe, and before that, while we were waiting for everybody to turn up, we played Star Realms Frontiers, and I got hammered. I was stuck between two players who both decided to use me as a buffer, and dear, yes, poor old John the Muppet. But yeah, anyway, so that was my gaming experience. In the rest of the world, what else have I been doing? I visited my secondhand bookshop, which I love. Picked up this series by Barb and JC Hendy. I've had the first series, but I missed a couple of the books in the series. But then when I went back, my good friend Cindy at the bookshop had the rest of them in hardcover. Oh, God, yes. Well, yeah, you know, I much prefer them in the soft cover because the soft cover are quite cheap. But for the but in hardcover, secondhand, and you know, they're half the price of what a modern soft cover is. Certainly here in Australia, we're paying $20 odd or more now for a soft cover. Is ridiculous. Australia is horrible with its pricing, but anyway, I won't go into that. Other things I've been doing, I guess, to while my time away and try not to contemplate on my horrible existence, I've been watching DVDs. So I've been working my way through Angel now. I'm up to season 3, so that's what I've been doing. I will also give a plug for my good friend Mick, my artist friend. He is now doing commission character portraits. So I will have a link after this with some examples of his artwork. So please go and check on him. And my dog's about to go off his nutter in a minute. There's a magpie in my front yard, and hopefully he won't. But anyway, look, thank you for your time, and I will catch you next time. So signing off, the Honourable John.